Well, I worked my butt off to move to the space program. Right, so you two idiots want to know about bones. Well, in microgravity, astronauts no longer walk to get to different parts of the spacecraft. They float. This means that the bones in the lower part of the body that typically bear weight, like the legs and hips and spine, experience a significant decrease in load bearing. This reduction leads to bone breakdown and a release of calcium. The calcium is then reabsorbed by the body, leaving the bones more brittle and then subsequently more weak. The release of calcium can also increase the risk of kidney stone formation and bone fractures. To put it into perspective, women who are past menopause that have been untreated for bone loss can lose up to between 1 and 1.5% of bone mass in hip within 1 year, while an astronaut can lose the same amount of hip bone mass in a single month. On missions outside Earth's orbit, radiation exposure may also impact bones. Right, so apart from not knowing about anything about bones, is there anything else you don't know?
Although, I do know a bit about the cardiovascular system, aka the heart and the blood going round the body. Although the cardiovascular system generally functions quite well in space, the heart doesn't have to work as hard because there's no gravity pulling the blood to the floor. This means over time, as it's not working as hard, the heart is a muscle, of course, it starts to deteriorate. Unlike our muscles, boom!
Yeah!
They're only getting bigger!
Yeah!
Anyway, so when you come back to Earth, in space you're fine, back to Earth, oh dear, it's all gone wrong, because your heart's so weak, it could actually lead to heart disease being a real problem in later life, because it has to get used to working hard again. Or you could just go to the gym and become gymnasts!
Feel like
yeah!
Yeah!
So yes, Professor, I know about the heart.
Well, that idiot over there has proved that he does know stuff. What about you?
No.
Well, Professor Swag Daddy Rude, I know a lot more than you might think. Mostly about muscles, because I have so many. Yeah! Now, what I know about muscles' effects in space is that extended space flight results in less weight on the leg and arm muscles and on the back muscles that are used for posture. As a result, muscles can begin to weaken or deteriorate, and this could lead to injuries related to falling over during an exploration mission. So basically, if you trip over, you're screwed. As we all know, astronauts exercise a lot to help combat this deterioration of muscle mass, but proteins to help reduce the muscle deterioration may one day be added as a complement to the exercise.
Like a gymnast.
Built like a brick, I'm basically the cactus. Right, so I get you know all that, but in case you didn't know, you need air to breathe. And in case you didn't know even more, there's no air in space. So, you know that feather you're wearing? It's not gonna cut it. So one of the main mistakes that one of you two idiots would probably make is that you could, as you're sucked out of the spaceship, you take one final pretty deep breath. You might think the extra air would help you stay alive for another minute or so. The actual result would be quite the opposite. Holding that air in your lungs in the vacuum of space would result in explosive decompression of your lungs. Imagine that for a second. The air would expand violently in the low pressure environment and cause your lungs to burst like balloons. If you ever find yourself in such a situation, you would be wise to exhale as much as possible to avoid this explosive effect. That means that your fez is clearly not going to help you in outer space. You need a spacesuit, and they have helmets. like this one. So predictably, you two idiots have come up with a bunch of problems. Have you got any idea how you solve these?
Actually, I can. I'm not as dumb as you think.
Neither am I.
No.
Neither.
Now, one way that astronauts could combat muscle deterioration is by being gym lads and working out a lot. Like
us!
me!
Yeah!
Gym lads! Yeah! But that could work.
Action.
This could work because when you're a gym lad and work out a lot like me, your muscles build up faster than when you sort of sit at home and watch TV and play video games. Also a lot like me.
So, Nathan, while that has been proven to work before, it's kind of risky because, as you said, gym lad. We don't know how much of a gym lad you need to be before, like, it's effective for you. So, earlier on, I talked about bones. And the way you could stop this bone decay that I talked about earlier is by increasing dietary calcium, so eat more calcium, and more vitamin D. This is a commonly used countermeasure against the effect of bone decay. Right, Matt. Now, we know Nathan actually knows something. Have you got anything to bring to the table?
I have this to bring to the table.
And I've got the cereal! Yeah, breakfast! Yeah!
Breakfast! Anyway. What's up, man? Okay, but I do actually have a solution. And my solution is that I said the heart deteriorates like the rest of the muscles. This means that, you know, if you were, say, a gym lad, fine, boom, I'm tall, alright, your heart would work harder while doing treadmill or cross trainer, and that would build up its strength and stamina, meaning that when you return to Earth, there'll be less of like a jolt or maybe less strain on the slightly deteriorated heart.
Right. So the conversation we have had prior to me talking proves that you know at least something about going to space. And by my standards, that's good enough. Spaceman the hell up.